Vengrin is going to kind of walk us through that, which I think is really interesting to know, kind of how you fit into our normal pool and who the students are. So once Dr. Vengrin gets done, you guys will be able to ask questions, I believe, right? And then we'll kind of do some parting wisdom. We'll open it up to just general questions and answers, things that maybe came to mind, and you didn't get a chance to ask. And then we will be all done for the day. So take it away, Dr. Vengrin.
All right. Am I? Okay. I think it's on and people on Zoom can hear me. Yes, hopefully good. All right. Hi, I'm Dr. Courtney Vengrin. I'm the coordinator for assessment and faculty development. I oversee the Office of Student and Curricular Assessment here at the College of Vet Med, and I also serve on the admissions committee. So basically what that means is I'm a giant data nerd. So I play with numbers all day. I'm a social scientist, and I like to say that I'm a recovering high school teacher. So I'm just going to go over a little bit about what our typical applicant pool looks like, what our current kind of classes that are here right now look like, and then a little bit about life after vet school, because once you're in, you kind of want to know, where am I going to go? Where am I going to get a job? What's that going to look like? So yay, it works. Okay, I'm going to apologize right now for formatting because we're having some Mac to PC issues. I'm a Mac person and all the room things are PCs, so that says who applies. We'll go with it. So who applies. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what our general applicant pool looks like. So these, now it all fit on the screen at least, yes. This is data from 3 total years of applicants, so roughly 3,500 individuals represented up there. And so these are our kind of current 3 years. So right now I'm not counting our VM1 class because they're not here yet. We've not finished filling, this class, or we're close. But so I don't count them yet. Because again, I haven't gone through all that data yet since we just did all of those admissions. So this is the current 3 years that we have. So you can see that we have a lot of, does this have a little pointer thing? Let's find out. Yay. All right. We have a lot of applicants from Iowa, as we would expect. I think that, I didn't write that number down, but I think that number was close to 800 or so over 3 years. Yeah, over 3 years. I'd have to look at that. Minnesota was around, I think 180. Nebraska, we have a lot of applicants from because we do have that partnership with Nebraska. So you can see we've got a lot of applicants from a lot of different states, almost every state. And I just focused on US. We do have a substantial pool of international applicants, and that is increasing. And we're very excited to have those students coming in as well. We do have students from Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands or US territories. In the last 3 years, we haven't had any students from Wyoming or West Virginia. That doesn't mean we've never had any. But in 3 years, we hit almost every state, which is really cool. So if you do come here to vet school and you are accepted, you will get the opportunities to meet students from other places and maybe even have some internships and residencies and build connections that will be important for your future career in veterinary medicine. So one question that I think we get a lot is, where do I fall in comparison to the competition? If you want to consider it that, I don't consider them your competition. I consider them your peers and your colleagues once you are in vet school. So you'll notice here I've got the last 45 hours GPA and then your science GPA. The admissions committee doesn't really look at that cumulative overall GPA. So these are the things that we focus on. This is what we care about, and this is where you should really focus. So I've broken it down between Iowa, Nebraska, and all others because Iowa and Nebraska are a big pool since we have, a lot of in-state applicants, and then Nebraska with that partnership. So last 45, the average GPA of applicants, not all of these people got in or decided to come, even if we said, hey, we'd like you to come. So the average overall from the pool is a 3.47 for Iowa applicants. Science GPA is a 3.22, 3.41 for Nebraska, and 3.15 for science for Nebraska. And then all others is 3.42 and 3.09. So really close there. Not a huge amount of variance, but that's what your average applicant looks like. Again, not your average accepted individual. This is just applicant pool. So 2.57, 90% of all applicants over the course of the last 3 years have had above this GPA for their last 45 credit hours. So this is something to think about. This is, again, just the applicant pool. Not all of these individuals got in because we have 1,000 applicants and 150 seats or so. So this is where 90% of our applicants tend to be above. It's a 2.57. All right, so who is actually here? Who gets admission into our college? So this is the same slide you saw a few minutes ago. This is our who applies. And so I'm going to pick on Virginia really quickly because that's actually where I'm from. I was born and raised in Virginia. I've only been in Iowa about 2 years. So Virginia, we can see we've got between 50 and 100 people that have applied in the last 3 years. But when we look at who's actually here, out of that pool of applicants, we only have less than 10 people from Virginia. Why might that be? What does Virginia have? A vet school. They have their own vet school. So just because all these people are applying, even if we said yes to offering them admission, sometimes they say no to us. So you have to take that, take all these numbers with a grain of salt. Some of these people are applying because they are the top candidate in the country and they're going to get admissions to many schools and they may choose to go to their home state. So that's why we see a really big difference in who's applying versus who is here. So we can see that we still have a majority of students from Iowa. Nebraska is kind of our second most. And then we do have a lot from California, South Dakota, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. That's our current 3-year class. It will change with this incoming edition of our VM1s, and it will continue to change and evolve every year. We, again, still have we have international applicants, and we have international students here right now. It's just kind of hard to visualize all of that information. And they are just a handful. I'd say less than 20 international students here. If you just talk about vet students. Now, if we talk about the graduate students we have here for PhDs, we have a lot of international graduate students, and they're a wonderful asset to our college. So for those of you thinking, I'm going to get a DVM and a PhD, that's a really awesome thing that we have both of those right here. I highly recommend that. All right. So where did those applicants come from? I really like to look at, who's here, what colleges are here. I got really excited because for my undergrad, I went to a very, very small college in Virginia because my dad was a faculty member there. So that's where I went to school. And I did see one person from my home school in Virginia from undergrad there. For my graduate degrees at Virginia Tech, you see a lot more of that. I was super excited when I saw someone from my home school. So I think this is always fun. So I just kind of did our top 5 here. This is our current 2 years of students because that's all the data I could manage to go through. So
actually, she's being very nice. I couldn't get her all the data she needed.
We don't typically look at this when we're looking at applicants. We really don't look at your school, but I think it's interesting to see who might be here. Because where you went to school does not really matter for getting into vet school. We have people in our current class that actually don't have a degree. You don't have to have a bachelor's to get in. You just have to complete the coursework. That's all you have to do. You can do that at a community college. We don't look at that. We just look at the factors that I'm sure you all have talked about earlier today, GPA. And I will second what Sammy said. Sammy? About the essays. As sitting on the admissions committee, that's one of the most important things. So I agree with what she was saying about the essays being super important, and take your time on those. All right, so currently, what is this, VM 2 and 3? Yeah. Okay, VM 2 and 3s. We have 61 students from Iowa State. We have 30 from the University of Nebraska. We have 9 from South Dakota State. We have 7 from North Dakota State. We have 7 from the University of Findlay, which I had to Google where that was. That's in Ohio. All right, somebody knows where that is. I had no idea. And then we have a metric ton from other institutions. There's 131 total colleges within 2 years. I would guess it's probably closer to 150, 160 with all 3 years here, and with 4, it's going to be over 200. So we have colleges across the board. I think so I quit at like 54 because I couldn't fit any more on. But so we have a lot of diversity when you look at colleges and look at where our students are from. And I think that's a really big strength of Iowa State, is that we have a lot of different backgrounds, and everybody is here. And for the most part, our students are really successful. It doesn't matter where you did your undergrad. So let's look at majors and degrees a little bit. Most people do have a bachelor's degree. It's just most people have either gotten that far already when they think about applying, or that was their plan starting out. They're going to finish their bachelor's before they apply. But we do have some that have an associate's degree, some that do come in with a doctoral degree, some that come in with a master's degree, and a couple that don't have a degree. So we currently have, at least in those 2 years, 3 people with no degree, 2 with an associate's, 275 with a bachelor's, 15 with a master's, and 2 with a doctorate who decided they're going to go back for a second career in veterinary medicine. So most people have a bachelor's, but it doesn't mean that you have to get in. And again, you will have some people that have some variety and have different life experiences. So it's really good to seek those people out if you are thinking about maybe getting a master's of public health along with your veterinary degree. We have a lot of really great options here. So then what do the majors look like for those people that did? I just looked at the bachelor's. So as we would guess, most people have majored in animal science or biology. How many biology majors do we have right now? Yes, that was my first degree too. Yay. You could do a lot of fun things with it. So those are our top 2. How many? Animal science is pretty much everybody else. Animal science, yeah. So about the same statistics here. Then our next couple of degrees are kind of veterinary medicine or pre-vet. Some colleges do offer that, some colleges don't. Biological sciences. So I think on this form they can type in however they want to.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of variety that some of us would lump this together, some of us wouldn't. I just leave the data as the data comes to me. So biological sciences is pretty well represented. And then we have a lot of people with other not listed. We have psychology, zoology, micro, engineering, agriculture. I was also an ag kid. So I like to see that one. Other life sciences, physiology, and it goes on and on and on and on to pre-med, physics, other science not listed, no major, journalism, genetics, English, education, anthropology. So just to say, your degree doesn't matter to get in. It is easier with, animal science or biology because those courses tend to line up with those degrees. But again, not a requirement. It's not going to hold you back from getting in. Or if you know somebody who's like, oh, I really, think I want to apply, but I majored in English, they can still do that. So this is just a kind of a snapshot of our current 2 years. And we talked a minute ago about the GPA of our applicant pool. This is the GPA for those offered admission from that same pool. So that 2.57 GPA, 90% of applicants had above that. 90% of those offered admission had above a 3.02 for that same 3-year span. So I tried to match up my data there. Now, not to say that all those people accepted. Some of those people will be bumping that GPA up because they're the top in the country and they can go wherever they want. Hopefully they chose Iowa State. But this is the GPA that 90% were above that we offered admission to in a 3-year span that I was looking at. And then we'll talk a little bit about after graduation. So I see a couple of people that might be parents in the room, maybe. So, or you might be applying. Age doesn't matter. I think our oldest vet student right now is in their 60s, 50s or 60s. We do have at least one we have a couple that this is a second career. So it does, the best thing about vet school is you do have a wide variety of people that you get to interact with, same as your clients. We have a wide variety of people. So I'm really excited when I see those people that are changing careers and coming to vet school as a second career option. All right, so this is our class of 2017. I've not run the data on a class of 2018 yet because that just happened like 2 weeks ago. So I still have other things that I'm trying to wrap up from the semester. At 2017, we had 141 graduates, and at the time of graduation, 94% were employed. So this is a snapshot at the time of graduation. 1 year after graduation, we will go back and talk to these individuals again. That survey is open and ongoing, so I can't tell you now. But we have a very high success rate with our students being employed and also passing the NAVLE, which is the licensing exam. I think that was also 96% this year. So 96, I'm gonna guesstimate that 96%, it might have been 97% of our students from 2017 both passed their licensing exam and were employed at graduation. So once you're in, you have a high likelihood of being successful in vet school here. This is our snapshot of those same 2017 graduates at the time of graduation, where they were going for jobs and what their salary starting out was. This does include part-time, and this is only those in clinical practice. This doesn't include those that are going on to residencies or internships. So you'll see Virginia's a little bit lower there. I think that's the lowest one I saw. That's probably someone doing part-time work for whatever reason. It could be that was their choice with family responsibilities, or it could be that they're doing part-time work and part-time maybe working on a master's. So I can't say what those are. There are a couple other states. The only states represented here are the ones that we had more than 2 people that I could show an average, because in order to not, reveal someone's personal information, salary numbers, I'm not going to put up, let's say, Tennessee when we only had 1 student go there for a job, because it's a small class. It's 150, 140 people. And say, oh, I know that, Joe went to Tennessee. That's Joe's salary. So we had students in other states. I just don't report anything I can't average for privacy reasons. So we had at least 2 or more students in all of these states. These are the average salaries for each of those states. You'll notice that the more expensive states to live in are going to have the higher salaries. But across the board, we do have a lot of students going in different places in the country. We do occasionally have some that go internationally as well in different years. So to look at these salaries kind of all together, maybe, there we go. This is 2016, so this is 1 year post-graduation. Again, I don't have 2017 data yet because that would be right now and that survey is ongoing. So this is kind of our span. Again, this is only private practice. This is not those who go on to residency and internships. And it does include those that are doing part-time work for whatever reason. So you can see that that kind of median income is around 65 to 70 over the last 4 years or so. And we do have a very broad range for income, but typically 94 and above % of our class is employed at the time of graduation. If you go on our website, vetmed.iastate.edu, under current students, under placement opportunities, you can see 4 years of all of these graphs. And we do update that every year as the new survey data becomes available. So if you do want to just keep an eye on what your future looks like, or if your parents that aren't here have questions and want to know, like, is my child going to be successful and be employed? You can show them that, look, Iowa State has a 94% employment rate of their graduates. And it's higher in some years. I think 2016 was 98%, which was really awesome. So that's kind of where our graduates are. Again, 2017 data will come out in the next couple of months. It's a giant survey, lots of questions. It takes a while to analyze. But that's all I really have for you all. If you have any questions for me about all of the numbers I just threw at you, I could try to answer them. But if not, thank you for your time.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to flip back over to the other PowerPoint. Thank you very much, Dr. Vengrin. Here we go.